What up, what up, what up? Y'all know what it is. It's your boys. We back again. Great episode of Fight Court planned ahead for you guys. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dean Thomas, my man Ryan Quinn, and we in the building. Ryan, what's up?
Not much. How are you?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. I just got out the dentist. So,
The dentist.
hoping that I'm not sounding like mush mouth too much, but we here.
I was supposed to get not a root canal, a wisdom teeth pulled like a year ago. I really got to schedule that because they say that it just comes and I'm going to have to get an emergency one. So I better get on that. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, man, get on that before you end up in the damn dental chair all messed up and
Yeah.
drugged out.
Yeah. Don't need that shit.
Bunch of dudes with knives all over you, like, rah. So what's up, man? You watched fights last weekend?
Yeah. Well, I caught the main card. So there's a lot of college football on, a lot of good baseball going on. I wanted to ask you about the Neil Magny, Jake Matthews card.
Yeah,
What was the confusion there? I'm still like, I was listening on mute and I haven't like listened to anything. I just know that they're trying to overturn it or make it. What happened?
So basically, Jake Matthews had Neil Magny in a submission.
Mm-hmm.
The round is coming to an end. Neil Magny's arm goes a little limp. You know how when guys just start relaxing, that's never a good idea.
Yeah,
To like overly
Robbie and Ben
relaxing
Askren.
submissions. You know,
Yep.
yeah, it's never a good idea. And the ref stopped it before the bell. Now, because the bell went off, Neil probably didn't realize, but Neil got up and protested. And then the ref was like, oh, I guess he's okay then. So then they allowed the fight to continue.
Can't do that.
You can't do that, right? So that's the confusing part. So then obviously the next round happens. Jake Matthews wins that next round. Third round comes. Neil Magny chokes him out and wins the fight. Jake Matthews is going to protest it and suggest that the fight should have been over when they stopped it. Now, my thing is this. I think that they should allow for replay.
Mm-hmm.
But because we don't have that now, you can't just implement it now.
Yeah, agreed.
Right? You can't just say, well, this is, I think that should be the situation. Like when a ref stops it on a bad stoppage like that, they should go back and these guys should be allowed to review it and then make a decision off of that. But because we don't have that, we have to go by what we've always done. What the precedent has been set. The precedent is it stands as it is, right? But it stands because, they should have stopped it, but because they didn't and the ref allowed it to continue, you have to let it stand as it is.
I agree with you. It's this is what we have. We're going to make lemonade with these lemons. We're not going to try to fucking make anything else happen. I mean, it's a crap situation, but I agree. We can't, because he just opened up a gate. I think that's almost a worse mistake than calling the submission. Like he's going to cause so much hell for the commissions after that. Yeah.
And for Jake Matthews, Jake is going to try to protest it, but the reality is that he came back and won the second round. He's going to say that, and he tried to say that it was hard for him to get back into the fight. Well, couldn't have been that hard. Like you came back and won the second round. You got the third.
Yeah. Okay. No, I saw the fight, but I was like, what the hell happened in the beginning there? Because like I said, I had it on mute. I was watching too many things at once. And even I tried to rewatch it today. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck? But anyway, what did you think of the main event?
Dominic Reyes, I felt as though, I talked to, I did the Submission Radio podcast yesterday, and Jed Menshew, he's a brilliant guy. He's really smart. He's really good at this. And he attributed that to simply Carlos Oberg's performance. And here's my thing, though. I don't know how much Jed has been around fighters during fight week and understand how much the mentality plays into it, because I attribute, and I'm not taking anything away from Carlos Oberg, but I think just the pressure for Dominic Reyes was a little too much. I think that the whatever was haunting him from the John Jones incident and him allowing himself to get back into this position to fight for a title haunted him, and it was a trigger that he was not able to fully fulfill himself in that fight. and just came out and was a deer in headlights.
Yeah. When I saw it, it's just sometimes like, and that attributes to the stress that you're talking about and the nerves where first he does come forward pretty hard as is. But you could tell the way he did on this one, like what was it, a minute and a half in, something like that. It was like he just against somebody like that, you can't bite like that. And then it's almost like him coming forward, it's his security blanket. And because of that, and to attribute to who is it that you were speaking with today?
Jed Menshew.
Jed Menshew. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of I agree with like 30% of that, but why do I say 30%? Because sometimes the dance partner is just so perfect for you, but you're just not good for the dance partner in MMA, you know? And because we talked about Carlos' significant counter striking, he played right into it. You know, I think it was a 3-2. I think that was a combination 3-2-3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it just made it look beautiful. I mean, it was beautiful, but it made it look beautiful. And I think that he gets a title shot. I think
for sure.
Yeah, there's really nothing else to say about it. It was a nice fight to watch. It was a nice fight to watch.
Yeah, I can't stress enough how important it is to really understand the mentality and how that affects fighters a lot. And a lot of people may not understand that. That when these fighters they get these triggers, they just think the fighters show up, they train hard, they show up, and they're fighting at 100% capacity every single time they show up. And that's not really the case, because sometimes they show up and they're fighting at different levels of their capacity depending on how bad that trigger hits. Because I've seen it, but I've done it before. I've showed up to fights where I was like, I don't really feel like being here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and I wasn't able to perform all that well. I've been with a lot of fighters who I could tell didn't want to be there for whatever reason. And to me, it just seemed like Dominic Reyes, when he hit that tunnel, when he walked out, he just wasn't fully there. So, again, I'm not taking anything away from Carlos Holberg. He's a great fighter. I actually predicted him to win the fight anyway.
Yeah.
But I just think that Dominic Reyes allowed the circumstances to get to him, and he didn't perform to the best of his ability.
Man, talking about times you don't want to be there. I hate to say it. I know there was at least one time where I wasn't feeling it. It was just a bad day at the office. It's not that I hated MMA. I just didn't want to be there. Like I don't want to go work out today. It was like that.
And you, for whatever reason, whatever the trigger is, it could be something, whatever that reason is, and you're just like, oh man, I don't really feel like doing this.
I overtrained. I remember I overtrained, and it was against a guy that I smoked as an amateur. I beat him 3-10-8 rounds as an amateur. And then I remember it was my first fight outside of Bellator when I left the first time. And I overtrained, and I weighed in 5 pounds underweight. I was so overtrained, and I knew I beat him the first round. It wasn't even like right before the fight starts either. Like I beat him the first round, and it was just took him down, hold him. Like, man, can we just get this over with? Like it was one of those. And then he actually beat me the second round. And then it wasn't until the third round I'm like, I can't hang my head on this shit. I gotta come out of here a winner, man. And then I controlled him again. But yeah, what a shitty feeling, because you know what you're up against, but it's just not happening. It's like just a bad day at the office. Unfortunately, we only get 2 or 3 a year.
Yeah, and that's it. You don't get many, and you can't afford to have them, and you have to suck it up. And I'm not making it as an excuse. It's the reason. There is a cause and effect. That's the cause of it. And it just, whatever that reason is, it just causes fighters to freeze. It causes them to get overly anxious or scared or just really nervous, and it causes them to freeze, and they don't actually perform. So, and I understand this because I'm around fighters all the time, and I know what happens to them psychologically and physiologically, what happens to them, and I see it and I go, oh, not gonna be your day today.
Yeah, not tonight.
Yeah, right. So Ryan, one thing I do want to talk to you about, Don Davis. I'm not sure what they did with his position in the PFL, but I like this new guy.
I don't know anything about this. I haven't been following.
You haven't followed this?
Fill me in. Yeah.
So John, I think his name is John Martin, and he
Yes. Okay.
is
I did hear this because I have a cousin,
yeah
John Martin, and I
yeah,
remember saying, "Oh, I'm like my
and
cousin."
and he is like the former CEO from like Time Warner.
Yep.
And he seems to be really sharp. He seems to really have his shit together. And hearing him talk about the game, I've never felt this for the PFL. A level of excitement. I'm actually feeling a level of excitement for the PFL. Just hearing John Martin talk about it, talking about how he wants to just rebrand it. He wants to do away with like all the mini tournaments and just have one unified champion in each division. And he's going to do what he can to try to build stars. He's not competing with the UFC. He respects the UFC. He said they were trying to buy. He tried to buy the UFC
Yeah.
back in the day. So hearing him talk about it, I'm like, and for me, I thought that maybe I had this intrinsic hate for the PFL that I was ashamed to admit. But it wasn't that. It just I understood how bad they were at doing the job.
Well, don't be so hard on yourself. I think that Don Davis was creating that, and he was putting the PFL in front of him, but really we all just couldn't stand what Don Davis was saying and what Don Davis was doing. We have fighters that we have love for in the PFL. Look at you were just popping Dakota Tasheva like crazy. Johnny's over there. So don't be too hard on yourself on that. I had to come to that realization. It's not this promotion, it's him. That's
it was him. It was him and what they were doing. Because now that we got this new guy in here and he's talking and he's saying all the right things, and I'm like, yo, I'm really rooting for them.
Yeah.
I really want to see them do well. Because we need organizations to give our friends places to fight.
Yeah. Thank God. One thing that and it's like how do you snag the talent before the UFC does? It's very difficult right now with the Fight Pass having a lot of these regional promotions. That'll help them a lot. But did he lean into any plans that he might have or any orders of operation?
So let's not make the mistake that we tend to make, and that is that how do we snag the talent? The talent is, I mean, you have to be a good fighter, one. But in terms of the talent that's going to sell, that's kind of created in a way.
Yeah, but didn't he say he wants to create star? Yeah,
okay. Right. Yeah. So and it's not a matter of him snagging them; it's a matter of them investing in them in a way that gets us to care and telling us a better story that gets us to care about them. So it's not they have the talent. So that's just really what it is. Like they have the talent, and there's other talented fighters in the world that they could get that the UFC probably doesn't even want, that we would probably care about if they told a good story. And this guy comes from TV, so he understands storytelling. So, and that's another thing that gets me excited, the fact that he understands storytelling, which I think that they could grab some of these unknown fighters or even the fighters that they have that we don't know enough about and tell better stories about them.
Yeah. When that happens too, and I'm sure they know this, especially he knows this, it's not like you need 5 stars at every division.
Right.
You maybe need 2 or 3 total that you're building up. And then you could bring in other guys to fight those people and you get behind them. Because if you have 2 or 3 total you're building up, then you're going to have some big fight cards quarterly. And that's huge for the PFL. I can't remember what they had their finals, right? Who really cared about anything else after that?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and that was my thing too, and I wanted to clarify that for the fans that are listening, because we make that mistake, and especially fighters make that mistake and overvalue themselves and think that just because they train hard and they fight hard and this is their job that, they deserve more. And it's not really about that. It's about, are you selling? And I think that like Phil Davis was, complaining he wanted to be with the best competition, and like that's why they're selling, because it's the competition. Like the fans don't know any better, really. They don't really know much better. They just want to know. They just want to see tough fights. The guys fight their ass off, and they want to be able to relate to them. And you can't relate to them if the stories are never told.
We've said this on here, like when the MLB, the baseball lockout, when the strike happened, they had replacement players and they sucked and it was bad baseball. But if you get replacement fighters in, there's no such thing as a bad fight. In fact, the worst technique is better.
Yeah,
so like,
it's probably even better.
Sell. Yeah, that's gonna sell.
Like I actually like watching street beefs.
Yeah. Bum fights. Remember
Bum
that?
fights,
25, 30 years ago.
World Star was my shit for years, man. I watched that stuff religiously. All right, so enough about the PFL. This weekend, UFC 320 goes down. Also, I'm just going to give the PFL some love right now because they do have some interesting matches. Usman Nurmagomedov is rematching Paul Hughes. That's a great fight. And then our homie JJ Wilson returns and he takes on Archie Colgan, who's a really good fighter. So, any interesting thoughts on those?
I like Usman Paul Hughes. I didn't know I didn't put any thought into the other fight with JJ, but I like Usman Paul Hughes is someone to get behind. That I think he'll flourish under the right people more, so to speak. Do I have any thoughts on it? No, not really. Just I'm just thinking about the fighters now. I'm not thinking about analyzing the fight. I didn't study enough for that.
Yeah, I think I actually have to because I'm working for a betting site that's making picks. Even though
who are they? Tell us who they are.
Well, I was about to say even though I could just like kind of Christmas tree it because my odds are always about the same. But I do I like to study it anyway. Even though when I study or pick it, just freestyle it, it's always going to be about 50%. But Paul Hughes, I want to say he's from Wales. Or he's from the UK. And just a tremendous fighter, terrific fighter, UFC level guy. And he gave Usman all he could handle. A lot of people thought he won. A lot of people thought that was fighter of the year last year. And as soon as it was over, he called for a rematch, and Usman was like, "Nah, you don't get a rematch." So it kind of pissed him off. But now it was inevitable, and they forced his hand, and he had to take the fight now. So, and I'm assuming because even Habib was like, "Yo, Usman needs to fight this fight." So now they're relishing at the opportunity to put Paul Hughes away. So that makes it even more interesting. So Paul Hughes gets an opportunity to see if he is better than Usman, and Usman gets an opportunity to say, "Hey, man, listen, it was a fluke that you hung around so valiantly in the first fight." So I think that'll be a good fight. And then JJ Wilson, our guy from around here, he trained with King Mo. So, I think that he's one of the more talented fighters on that roster. I think he's also UFC level. He's got a skill set that not a lot of people have because he has a very dangerous guard and he'll play from it. And he's fighting a wrestler, so I'm assuming he's going to be using that in this fight. It'll be a really good, interesting fight between these two, actually.
So you keep saying UFC level. Do you think we'll ever say PFL level?
Yeah, well, hopefully,
yeah. Hopefully, yeah.
hopefully, I'll utter them words out of my mouth one day. All right, so moving right along to the UFC 320. We got my man, obviously, Magomed Ankalaev, my homeboy. You know what I'm saying? Give me a call, Ank. Taking on, to defending his belt against Poatan. Any early thoughts on that?
I think Poatan wins. I think he comes back. I think that he's going to have a little more volume, create a little more angles, and just pick it up a little bit more, and he'll do enough. I felt he lost the last fight, but I wasn't. If he had gotten a decision, I would have been like, And I feel it's a little more difficult to have another 25-minute fight for Ankalaev than it would be for Pereira in that aspect. Ankalaev, he's doing his thing, man, trying to sell this fight. Now the coach is saying that Pereira is an old boxer. I guess he's not really young, all things considered, but old kickboxer. Sorry, but no, I like him in this fight. I like Pereira. What about you?
I actually was going to go the other way. I thought that Ankalaev has more ways to win, and I thought that even like the first time they fought was during Ramadan, and to me, he actually looked a little slower compared to when he fought Alexander Rakic.
Yeah.
To me, he looked a little slower. And I'm thinking that if he can pick up his volume a little more and use his movement a little more, shoot more, and then he punches a little faster, I'm actually thinking that he actually beats Paul.
I can see a world where that happens. I just think it's too difficult to pick up your volume too much against Poatan. He's just too many sneaky traps.
I know. I tell you this though, man. Watching him he was doing his little pad work with Plenio. He looked good though.
Yeah.
His
Okay.
hands, like
I'll check it out.
he punches from his chest, so it always looks weird
Yep.
defensively. Like defensively, he just always looks like he leaves himself open. But maybe that's a trap.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a trap to get people to punch because he knows he's going to beat you to it.
He does have a pretty quick right hand.
Yeah,
Like, so maybe that's his trap. He does have a pretty quick right hand.
and a quick left hook. So,
Yeah.
but I tell you what though, if he starts punching on Ankalaev, he gonna knock him out for sure. He knocking him out. I actually think no matter what, I do think that there's going to be a finish this time. I think that the fight will be more definitive.
I can see that. Yeah, I think so too.
The other fight on this card that I'm really interested in is Juri Prochazka and Khalil Rountree. I think that is a fantastic fight.
I'm so torn on that fight. I really am. I don't even. So now, like, traditionally speaking, I would say, okay, the guy who's a little bit more conservative in these fights, that's going to come forward like this, and I would give him the option. But Juri's got the weirdest angles, creates the weirdest patterns of striking. It's just he can create damage in a lot of different spots. I mean, I'm a pretty big Khalil fan, but yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun, that fight. And I don't even know how you would adjust if you're one or the other if you lose round one. What about you? What are you thinking?
I'm actually going with Juri. I think what makes Khalil so dangerous is his leg kicks. He's a big puncher, but he's not the greatest boxer, right? Like he's not like boxing, like setting up traps as a boxer. He does he's a powerful puncher, but his kicks are what makes him most dangerous. I think that Juri's movement should eliminate the kicks, and then just his weird angles of finding ways to hit people. I think that he's going to be able to touch Khalil up a bit and probably knock him out. I think that's my guess. I think he knocks Khalil out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I see it. Yeah, just because if Khalil, he can't keep taking punishment like he did against Alex in that one fight, and I could see that happening with Juri too, where before the big knockout strike happens, like a spinning kick or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see that with Juri.
So I'm picking him to win that fight. I'm obviously out there with Joe Pyfer. He's taking on
we skipped one. We skipped one.
I know. Which one did we skip?
Okay. Oh
no, go back. Let's go back. Go back.
Merab versus
yeah, how the hell did we skip that one?
That one's interesting. So I have Merab winning, but I think he needs to come from behind in that fight.
I think so?
Yeah, I think Corey's gonna be tough to figure out and tough to get in range because Corey can wrestle. And Corey, for his size, has a fantastic level change. So he's gonna be able to defend some takedowns that a lot of people wouldn't. He's fairly quick for his size too. But I think that Merab's gonna figure it out and he's gonna start snowballing the last 3 through 5.
This is a very dangerous fight for Merab, especially strategically, because Corey is very good strategically, and his losses have come from losing the strategic battle.
Yeah,
and I think that he might have been able to figure that out because he's a guy who learns from his mistakes, and if he learned from the mistakes of T.J. Dillashaw and Umar Nurmagomedov, those are the things that he's going to need to have figured out in order to beat a guy like Merab. And you got to anticipate and expect that he has figured that out. Corey has a really good chance of winning this fight. If I had to guess, I would say I'm almost going 50-50, but I'm going to go 49-51. 51 Merab, 49 Corey. I think if Corey, like you said, he's got a great level change. Like when he was taking out Song Yadong and Rob Font, like if he implements some offensive wrestling, I think that's going to be tremendous for him because then he could Merab.
Yeah. It's not like he's never in shape.
Yeah.
He's always really in shape. And his striking's fucking good.
Yeah, he's a better striker than Merab. Probably not a better wrestler, but with his striking, he can keep Merab off balance and probably get some takedowns of his own, and then that'll kind of keep Merab from taking him down. So Corey has a really good opportunity of winning this fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I'm going 60-40 Merab, but I wouldn't be surprised. I love watching Corey fight. I just think that Merab figures it out after 10 minutes and starts chewing up clock on him, keeping him against the fence, things like that.
If Corey allows that to happen to him, I will be so disappointed in Corey, because Corey has had years to figure out how to deal with that. And it's happened to him. His losses have come from that.
Yeah.
In fact, all of his losses have come from, at some level, somebody hanging on his back.
Yeah.
Whether it was Aljo choking him out, or TJ Dillashaw doing it on the fence, or Usman, or I'm sorry, Umar. Well, Umar was kind of in his guard, and and then on his back. But like, all of his losses have come from that. If he loses to Merab because Merab hangs out on his back, I will be really disappointed that he hasn't found an answer for that.
I can see Merab too, just smiling.
Yeah, just smiling, picking him up, dumping him, standing back up. It'll be fun to watch. But yeah, I'm still going Merab on that. But Joe Pyfer, and I normally probably wouldn't talk about this fight, but I'm invested in it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Joe Pyfer put his hands on this dude. But this dude could fight, man. I think it's a really tough matchup for Joe Pyfer. But Joe Pyfer is who Dana White wants him to be like Joe Pyfer. He's got to be able to beat this guy. He's got to get by this guy. So interesting match, good fight. But I'm here.
Did you work with him at all?
Yeah, we worked a little bit.
Yeah, cool.
I'm going to corner him. We worked a little bit. Joe's a fighter, man. When it comes time to fight, like he's a kid from the Northeast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's one of them kids that was like fighting. He'll fight you. So he's a fighter. He trains hard. He's been doing jiu-jitsu since he was a little kid. Been in the gym since he was a little kid, and he's a fighter at heart. So
in his last fight, there's times too in a fight. Who did he fight his last fight?
Kelvin Gastelum.
Yes, thank you. So in his last fight, like, I felt like his energy, you could just tell I'm figuring it out. I can't put my finger on it, but like, it feels like he's reaching that level where I'm figuring this game out. I'm confident what I could do. Am I making any sense? But like,
no, you're right, because like when you're a regional level guy with a big punch and you're knocking everybody out, you're not really learning how to fight. You're learning how to knock. You're learning that you can knock people out, but you're not really learning how to fight. And as he is growing up in this game in the UFC, every fight he's learning how to fight. And that loss to Jack Hermanson taught him a lesson. Like, there's more to fighting than just knocking people out. And with Kelvin Gastelum, it was a good learning experience for him, because one thing, he waited a lot in that fight because he was expecting Kelvin to come forward more, and Kelvin never really did that. So he was kind of waiting on that. But again, it was him figuring that out, that not everybody's going to do exactly what we wanted them to.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Thank you.
Fighters don't do what you want them to. They don't always cooperate what you expect from the film study. So as a fighter, you got to make them do some things. And he's figuring this out.
They do. They don't do what you want them to do as an opponent. They do even less what a coach wants them to do.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? But I look forward to this weekend. I think it's going to be a great weekend. But Ryan, anything else, my man?
No, Apache Mix is on the card, so hopefully he has a turnaround.
Well, King Mo was talking about him just the other day and said he saw him in Vegas. Apache Mix was an absolute stud on the ground. He's just got to get it there.
Yeah.
Just got to be able to get it there and keep it there. And hopefully, with him being on the card now, that it's not too overwhelming for him. I think that the spotlight was a little too much for him. These guys got signed and they got paid, and we put a big light on these guys, and they weren't ready for it. None of them were. We seen that they weren't ready for it the first time.
Yeah, I think he gets a quiet win this weekend.
Yeah,
quiet win this weekend. So,
and he can use that.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
And that's all I got. And we appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, we love you. And if you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. And on that note, this court is adjourned.